Welcome back to the channel, y'all. In this video, we got a pretty tough comparison right here. Made by the same company. Y'all pretty much familiar with this. This is the Chemical Guys Nice and Wet Tire Shine Trim Coating versus the Chemical Guys Factory Finish Tire and Trim Coating. Alright, so I want to see which one of these capable of producing the wettest look on this Honda Accord tire here. Alright, so I'm just kind of curious because it looked like the cans look similar. They look kind of like it could be almost the same product. Not saying that it is, but it looks that way. It look like, oh, yeah, that's the same product. If you ain't paying no mind to it, it'll just, go right through. You'd be like, oh, yeah, whatever, So looking at the can, you think, oh, that's the same product. So let's give it a try. To this side, it's going to be the factory finish trim coating right here. I want to see which one of them is capable of producing the wettest shine and gloss to the tire. That's all. All right, let's pop that off. Shake it up. And let's get busy. Here we go. I'm going to get close in. I ain't going to do but 2 coats of each product on the tire. Alright. I'm going to leave it at that. First go around, factory finish. Alright, so let's pop the top on the Chemical Guys Nice and Wet Tire Shine Trim Coat. Both of these are trim coatings. So, that's it. Now, first go, that factory finish looking pretty good there. As you can see, shake it up a little bit. We're going to leave a little gap up in here. That's it. Now, the first appearance coming out, I see that this Chemical Guys Tire Shine Trim Coat Nice and Wet comes out a little foamy like, as you can see here. It's much wetter on the first coat. It also comes off foamy like, as you guys see there. Very wet on the first coat though. So let's drop it down there. We got the batter going on here. Alright, now starting out, as you guys see over here, the Chemical Guys Nice and Wet looks wetter. Will it stay that way? I don't know, man, but it's super wet for right now. Alright, you guys see that good. Here's the factory finish. I guess this one here give you more of a factory look. That's probably why it's called factory finish, But I was just curious, because like I said, the 2 cans look very identical. If you didn't read the label of the product, you would actually think, oh, well, that's the same product, So just looking at the cans, they look like twins almost. So I was like, yeah, gotta compare these two and see, is there much of a difference? And I left the gap in the middle so you guys can really see a difference. That's why I leave that gap there. Now this here is kind of more drying down, but I don't get the benefit of the doubt now because this is just the first coat. So we don't know what the end outcome is gonna be. Here's the nice and wet to this side. It's pretty darn wet, I tell you. For it to be the first coat, and it don't look like it dried down a whole lot since I sprayed it. I'm just gonna give it a few, maybe another 20-30 seconds, and I'm gonna go ahead and spray the second and final coat. Now that nice and wet is more runny, as I can see here. You can see like I call them run lines in here, like paint runs. You can see it's got, and this stuff here goes on a little bit more smoother, as you can see here. The factory finish goes on very smooth, give you kind of like a factory look a little. It kind of gives you like a factory look with a little gloss to it. It's not as wet at all, as you can see, even from this distance here. Trying to block the sun. You guys can actually see that the factory finish is actually smoother with less gloss, and a nice and wet. It's more wetter with kind of got the run lines in there though. So I'm see can I smooth this off some when I spray the second coat. So we're gonna go and get into the second coat and see what we get. Here's the factory finish. So let's hit it. Now I noticed with the factory finish, you can get in on it more. Alright, I'm gonna let it go with that. It sprays out much smoother because of the type of sprayer that's up here than this stuff does. Nice and wet. Sprays out almost too much product, in my opinion, and it's not as smooth. Alright, so let's hit it. Second and final coat. Really don't need it. And where it comes out, as you can see here, see it's kind of like a foamy substance. And that foamy substance is kind of make it run. But for its wetness, I think I give it up to the nice and wet. That's what we need. And I think it's starting to smooth out some, as you can see here. We'll give it a few minutes to kind of work its magic. Starting to smooth out some here. Check that out. That's very wet. Well, over here, it's definitely wetter on the second coat, but it's not as wet as the nice and wet. The factory finish is not. So y'all see the kind of wetness that you're getting. Now, like I said, the nice and wet didn't dry down a whole lot from the time I sprayed it. So they give you guys an insight on which one wetter than the other. And if then the next minute, if it stays like this, on the second coat, it's somewhat smoothed out some. As you spray it up there, as you can see. That's the nice and wet right here. Definitely gets much smoother. Whereas the factory finish came with more gloss. But at the same time, it's not quite as wet. But to be honest, it's wet enough for me. Like it like that. But it's just not quite as wet as this. But to me, that's wet enough. It looks good. How wet do you really want it? But this factory finish looks very good. It actually goes on still smoother, in my opinion. I would still prefer the nice and wet for its wetness, but for its smoothness, I prefer factory finish. As you can see, that nice and wet is very wet when you first apply it now. Here's the factory finish. It's nice gloss to both. Can't argue that, but the nice and wet is just wetter. But I will say the factory finish is much smoother. So y'all, both of these products around the same price. It's around $10 to $11 on Amazon. So y'all give them a try, man. For its wetness, I give it up to factory finish. Not wetness, but for its wetness and smoothness. For super wetness, I give it up to nice and wet, but it's not as smooth. As you can see, I still slightly see those run lines in there. Versus over here, I don't see any to the factory finish side. So there you have it, man. That concludes the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Share my videos out with your family and friends. Until next time, guys, I'm going to hit y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace.